Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to From the Ashes podcast. And this is the shorts. And today we are continuing or concluding our Star Trek tier list of factions. And we're going to be talking about none other than the Federation. And we felt like that the Federation deserved its own episode because, look, there's a lot of continuity to go over, and we're going to probably have a lot of back and forth with this. So this is the way. I know I just threw something else in, but hey. That's the tick off
Wow!
everybody else. Any Star Trek fan watching, But anyways,
Wow!
that being said, I'm also here with my panel of characters that have been my co-host through this complete journey, or yeah. So, we've got Raven. How you doing, bud?
I'm I'm listening to the screams of anguish from every Star Trek fan out there right now.
You didn't like that? You didn't like that? Come on, that was
Oh,
funny.
I thought it was hilarious, but I can't promise you that anybody else did.
All right. Well, that being said, also, you heard that little cackle in the background. That's none other than our own zombified mummy. Zombified bones skeleton. Zombie, what's up, buddy?
Oh, a whole lot of nothing.
Well, um, yeah, guys, this has been a really good journey so far. Like, I I really like this, and I feel like down the line, maybe not, anytime soon, maybe in about 5-6 months, we reconvene and do some more Star Trek stuff and talk about possibly like maybe a tier list for all of the shows. I know I'm going kind of iffy there, but
Oh,
you
no,
know,
I think that would actually be a really good one.
I think it would too. I think Zombie and I actually had to talk about this.
Yeah.
But that would be down the road. A little teaser for you guys, or maybe we'll do something Star Wars, since this is the way and all. And I'm not going to beat that into the ground, but I feel like I just did. But anyways, we're moving on. But the Star Trek series would be awesome. But that aside, let's talk about what we're here for today, and that is the Federation. And I've been sitting here in my head and kind of stalling, trying to figure out which one of you two maniacs I want to go first, because this is going to be an interesting discussion. Like, I feel like this is going to go like the full half hour, if not longer, that we need to complete this, because even though it's just one faction, it is the one that started them all. The reason for being the whole kit and caboodle right here. Oh,
Yeah.
did you just say that too?
Yeah.
Dude, we are so on par today. But anyways, that being said, let's get things kicked off. And you know what? Since Raven has been our guest, host throughout all of this, I want you to finish up this tier list by your
Ooh.
comments on the Federation first. So
Oh,
please.
wow. Okay. Wow.
And he wanted to do this back to back, so this is on him.
Hey.
I mean, what?
If I knew I was going to be punished for it. Wow. The Federation.
What can be said about the Federation?
The Federation. To me, the Federation was the hardest to rank, and the reason being is, you're right. The Federation is the front and center of the entire Star Trek franchise.
Yes.
The Federation is mentioned at least once in everything related to the franchise. It is probably the most well known and probably the most beloved of all of the factions in the franchise. And so, to me, trying to objectively look at the Federation and not rank it in a way, I fully admit that public opinion on this, did play a factor into my ranking on this one, because you don't want to rank it too low and piss everybody off, but you don't want to rank it too high and blow it completely out of proportion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion. Because while the Federation is, good and everything, it had its problems. And while we don't see a whole lot of the politics involved in the Federation, really mostly what we see is Starfleet. And unfortunately, because of that, most people associate Starfleet as being the Federation, and that's not the case. And when you explain to people, no, Starfleet is just an exploratory science arm of the Federation, they go, what?
Yeah.
Um, so that's why when you look at the Federation in a whole, that's why you can say there's a lot of problems there. I'm just going to start going down the list, and feel free to interrupt me as we go, because this is a discussion about one faction.
Right.
Military, we don't really know a whole lot about their military. Starfleet is not their military arm. There is actually a separate military arm to the Federation that revolves around fighting battles and things like that. No, it's not security forces. It is a full-on military that helps to wage campaigns. Is Starfleet able to participate in military actions? Yes. But that's not its primary mission.
Isn't their military like a terrestrial defense division or something like that?
No. It's more of a border defense thing. The terrestrial defense doesn't come in until Discovery, where the Earth has pulled out of the Federation. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an Earth Defense Force. It's more of the military is more of a. I almost liken it more towards the UN, where they're a peacekeeping force, but have the ability to kick some serious patoot when they need to.
I mean,
I didn't want to say ass. I didn't want to say ass because I didn't know if I could cuss.
No. You can this is you can say basically mostly whatever, but to be fair, they are all about peace and liberty and justice, like Superman, but for Star Trek.
Right. So the military arm, so that's what I said. Their military arm I liken more towards the UN, because that's more of what they're going for. If a conflict arises, they come swooping in. So does Starfleet, but Starfleet is like the British; they'll just show up for anything. Oh, look, a battle, a war, we'll be there. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
Thank you.
I can't.
Okay.
I could say you're wrong, but I wouldn't be right.
Tell me I'm wrong that the British don't just show up for anything that they can. Anyway, I love England. Don't get me wrong. I love England. I love the British. Don't hear that at all. Anyway.
And Jan, don't take offense to that.
Yeah, right. So we don't really know a whole lot about. The only thing that really stands out about their military is Section 31. And that's because there was a whole arc about Section 31 in DS9 and in the video games and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's more of
intelligence, though.
Exactly. They're more of the CIA.
Yeah.
Okay. But they do some clandestine stuff, but it's not,
Sorry, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I giggled and then Zhombi said what I was thinking. So anyways, Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. So, military actually ranked fairly mid to low for me because we don't really know much about the military other than what we've seen Starfleet engage in. If we were just going to rank Starfleet in military, I would say it would be relatively a high mid, because Starfleet's primary focus is exploration and science, and the weaponry that they have on the ships are purely for defense. It's not like they purposely go out and say, "Oh, look, pew pew pew, we're going to kill you." No, it's everything is there for defense. So to me, their military ranked, like I said, fairly mid-tier. Technology-wise, I've kind of said this before, but I'll kind of say it again. They are pretty well on par with the rest of the Alpha Quadrant when it comes to technology, if, in my opinion, a little behind. And the reason I say a little behind because the Romulans actually have better technology with quantum singularities versus dilithium matrices powering their engines. The Romulans have cloaking devices. The Klingons have cloaking devices. You know, on par though with the rest of the quadrant, their technology is pretty well even. So to me, their technology doesn't rank very high because they're not really doing anything that's all that great. You know, um, their adaptability though to me kind of ranks very high
Mm.
because the way that the Federation works and the way that it's put together is welcoming all races that want to come and join the Federation. And once you're part of the Federation, you are accepted as who you are. You have to be adaptable and say, okay, I have to deal this way with races X and Y, but race Z, I have to do a completely different thing. Okay. Where one race might find it to be insulting to be polite, another race would find it incredibly welcoming to be polite. Okay. You have to be able to adapt to the situation that you're in, especially in diplomatic during diplomatic missions. Um, First contact, huge. You've got to be adaptable because you don't know what you're going into. You don't know what you're dealing with. And I would say that the Federation really has first contact down to a science. I mean, they do very well with that. So I would say that their adaptability ranks very high because of those things. Their motives are kind of all over the board, at least in my opinion. Um, you have Starfleet, whose primary mission is science and exploration.
To
But do we
boldly
really know
go.
what to boldly go? But do we really know what the rest of the Federation's motives are? We know that they want peace. We know that they want to accept people for who they are and bring them in. We know that the Federation kind of wants a utopian world. And when I say the Federation, in that case, I'm substituting Federation for Gene Roddenberry. Wants a utopian world where everybody is happy and has everything that they need and can do as they need and things like that. And that's a great motive, okay, for it. But do we really? Is it really defined? Really,
But
all we
see,
know is that Starfleet's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, but see, Section 31 throws a wrench into all that because they're shady as
Mm-hmm.
all get out,
Yes.
and they're that right there, their motives, like you may know their motives, like as a Federation, like for somewhat, but you throw Section 31 and all the other stuff that has happened over the different series about corruptness, which corruptness is in every you know
Yes.
in every place, but like there's a lot there to unpack and unfold with like Section 31 is a big, really big like point, you know what I mean? Like I just
Yeah. No. The Section 31 is that one outlier variable that really throws everything into chaos when
mm-hmm,
it comes to the Federation, and it's never really made clear if Section 31 reports to the Council, to the military, or through Starfleet, or to all three,
mm-hmm.
or if they're a entity all on their own. I mean, it's really kind of it. Section 31 is one of those weird oddball things within the Federation.
Right.
You know, so I agree with you, and that was one of the things I was going to say is that other than Section 31's, we know Section 31's motives, and we know that Starfleet was chartered with the express purpose to explore. We don't really know what the rest of the Federation's motives are, especially because of the fact that the Federation, one of the Federation's things is we are the over-governing council of, everything to deal with the high-level governmental things. But every planet is their own autonomous entity.
Mm-hmm.
We don't delve into and tell you how to live your lives on your planet. Your culture and the way you have lived your lives is how you live your life, and we the rest of us will accept that and conform. Because as I said, Starfleet, when they come up to a planet, is one of the directives in their charter is to obey the laws of that planet. Vulcan's laws are going to be different than Earth's laws, are going to be different than Andoria's laws, and then you know you've got to be able to. And again, that comes back to the adaptability of you got to be able to adapt and understand all the laws of all the races of the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And because of they're all so, each planet is so autonomous. Each planet has their own different motives. So to me, motive is kind of murky and really kind of low because how do you really define what the motive of the Federation is?
Yeah.
At least to me, because the Federation has, like I said, has always been made up of, has always been to say the Federation is its people, it's not its government. Territory wise, compared to the rest of the Alpha Quadrant, the Federation is maybe slightly larger than some of the other factions, but not terribly so. It's not. I mean, I would say that the Klingon Empire and the Federation are about equals in territory, whereas say the Romulans are definitely smaller than those two. The Romulan Star Empire is much smaller than that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the Federation is at least when it comes to their territory, the only way that their territory expands is if they bring a new system in. They're not out purposely pushing their boundaries like a lot of the other factions do. The only reason that their territory expands is because they bring somebody new in.
Right.
And
but they do it the right way for the most part,
I agree. I mean, I agree with you too. I mean, that's the thing. That's the Federation was, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm not downing it. It's more of a joke. The Federation was Gene Roddenberry's way to look at a utopian society.
Yeah.
Okay. That's ultimately what it boils down to. So, I mean, when it comes to territory, the Federation doesn't really. It's not a primary focus for them. They're not worried about territory. Oh, we have this. This is great, but we're happy with this.
Mm-hmm.
If we lost, if let's say, for example, planet Alpha Beta decided, hey, we're going to go and join the Klingons now because we like their desserts. The Federation would go, that's sad. Yeah, right. That's sad. We'll miss you. But okay, we're happy now. We still have our territory. We still have what we have. You know what I mean? It's not, yeah. So that's kind of, yeah. It's kind of how I kind of looked at it with the Federation.
All right, Zhombi. Well, Raven gave us a lot to think about here.
Yeah.
So why don't you share your take on it?
So I'd agree that their territory is mid, because like you said, they don't, they're not out there conquering planets and stuff like that. They're like, hey, you want to join us? No. Okay, well, have a good day. Type of mentality. So I had their territories as being fairly mid. I had their military as mid as well. Just because, what we're used to seeing is Starfleet, which, like you said, they're the explorers. They're not the military. That's not saying that they can't defend themselves, but from what I've seen is when there's a conflict, it takes them a while to actually bring forces to bear. Like, they could do it, but it's like, okay, well, we need a bit to be able to get everything into place. Like their ships, well, we don't have just fleets of ships sitting there waiting for a war to break out. They're out doing stuff. So we got to pull them into position, which takes time. Which to me brought their military might down, because if you don't have forces standing by, I mean, that's not necessarily great if a conflict breaks out. Well, we lost this place, and now, months later, now that we've got our pieces in order, we can go back. I had their technology as pretty high, but not like top tier, because there's obviously other factions that have better technology than them. I did have their adaptability really high, just because they adapt not instantly. They're not the Borg, but they do adapt, and you see it from time and time again where we've had this conflict, and they don't announce, oh, we've solved this issue, but all of a sudden it's not an issue anymore. Like, oh, well, this race's weapons are causing us issues. Well, several episodes later, the next season, it's not an issue anymore. They don't necessarily say, hey, we've solved this issue, but you can infer from seeing that, well, it's not causing the same issues it was before. They've clearly adapted and overcome, that flaw or weakness or whatever, their systems had.
Yeah.
Kind of basically like the Tony Stark of the Star Trek universe. Learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. I had their motive as high, and I think part of this was I got a little bit confused between the Federation and Starfleet, which is, my own. But I'm not going back to fix it at this point. Because, so, yeah, I mean, I had their motive as pretty high, just because, to me, I kind of felt that the motive was, hey, we want to coexist. We want to coexist with everybody. We don't want conflict. We don't, can everybody just get along type of mentality.
Yeah.
They're not going to be mad if you decide to go join the Klingons for their desserts or whatever.
Again, too.
Yeah, it was like it was just came to my mind. So whatever. They're not going to cause a fuss about it. They're not going to be like, oh well, no, you signed up, you got to stay, and causing a civil war.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just like, all right, well, have a good day. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Well, I myself have a few rebuttals and whatnot to both of you. I kind of said quietly for the most part, except for the one part. However,
you're wrong. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
So I'm going to start off with military might. Yes, they are peaceful. They try to be peaceful. They're like the order to things. You know what I mean? I mean, let's face it. Like, what is the Federation's prime directive? It's General Order Number 1, right? And they literally try to stick to that. Now, sometimes they butt in, even though but usually it's to save the community or whatever the cost. But overall, their military might, I still think is, and Raven, you had some good points, and so did you, Zhombi, about like trying to gather their sources and stuff like that. But my goodness, when they gather their sources, they're freaking exponential. They're so huge. But not only that, a lot of people fear the Federation. And it's not because of their freaking maybe a little bit of their adaptability or their territory. Their military might is something that is to be feared, in my own opinion. And I rank them high on the military might, even though they are more science vessels and stuff like that. But they do have their juggernauts and other things. And even though like the Enterprise wasn't a juggernaut, it was a science vessel, it was still their flagship, So like for that to be higher tiered than all the other ships, is something special. So that being said, I rank their military might high because of if people know the Federation are around, they get very leery about what if they're going to do something like, should we go through with our plans? If we don't want the might of the Federation coming down on us, basically. And I know that's been used, like that phrase has been used in Star Trek, So that's what I say about that. Their territory, I do agree with you guys, because it's not like they have a fist around every single territory they have. They have their own rights, and they have to abide by the laws of the planets, within the Federation. A good example of that would be, with the Vulcans, and the way that they do things on their planet, even though if something would go wrong on there, they're gonna try them on Vulcan and blah blah blah. I mean, granted, there's that Federation presence, but yeah. So technology, I would like to agree with you guys, and this is kind of where I kind of step aside. Their technology is top notch, because in this, like we've always said, we've kind of put technology and adaptability together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they adapt just like the Borg, because like once they figured out the Borg's trick, they literally would adapt to them adapting. So that would take technology building, and a very, very good example of that is Star Trek Voyager. Like Voyager ships itself. Like when they introduced the ablative armor, like, I mean, come on. Like that's a step above everything, I think. Like they have the best shields of any ship ever in the Federation in my eyes. Can you guys argue that?
No, I mean you're 100% right on that. I mean,
Yeah.
with all the stuff that Voyager brought back,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to reverse engineer a lot of the Borg technology that was incorporated into Voyager.
Right. That ablative armor is bad as, oh man, it's
that ablative armor is awesome.
Yeah. So that's why I said their technology and adaptability, that ranks super high for me, because I mean, yeah, they may have cloaking technology and other stuff over there, but as fast as the Federation adapts, and the way that Voyager had to adapt, like they had no choice. They thought they were going to be stuck there forever. And the things that they did on that ship to get home, my goodness, like it was amazing. But they still kept the code of the Federation. Like Janeway be damned if she was going to like take her morals away just to survive. Which there was a couple times she, like there's a couple times that she was questionable about that, but overall she did well. She did a great job. She's still one of my favorite captains of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But and their motive actually ranks high for me too, because what's better than a peaceful motive? But again, this is contradicting my own self when I say Section 31 is in that mix. So if anything, Section 31 does bring it down a bit, a little bit, but and as you guys talked about, each planet has their own motives, but Starfleet, I'm going to use Raven's own words against him. The Council makes the Federation. And the Federation as a council as a whole, that's different than the planets. Would you agree? You can't disagree.
That's fair. No, I can't disagree. No, I can't. But
go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, but you keep in mind too, though, that the council is made up of the individual planets. So in essence, that autonomy is still held true to in the council.
Correct. However, the council, is made up more of like Starfleet and I would say, like I said before, what is it? Oh gosh, Vulcan. Like they're more prominent on the Starfleet than anything. Or well, Starfleet, you know what I mean. You know what I meant. The
Oh, the
Federation,
council.
the
On the
Council.
council.
So that being said, I rank their motive fairly high. You've got these rogue sects, and like I said, Section 31 is kind of like one of those things. But I'll say this. All right. Odo said this. Okay, he was talking about the Federation claims, to abhor Section 31's tactics. But when they need the dirty work done, they just look the other way. So they're just as bad as Section 31. It's so Odo said that himself. But all I'm saying is, I feel like their motives are fairly pure for the most part. And to me, there's nothing ranked higher than that. So that being said, that is literally all I got to say about that. And from a personal standpoint, because we do factor that in, like, yeah, they're the best. So that being said,
yeah, they're the best.
you know where it's headed for me, so I might as well just say it for my. Do we got all the conversation out? Or do we?
I'd say so.
All right,
I think so. Yeah.
So it's time to get down to do the thing, right?
Yes.
All right. So I think the Federation should be ranked the highest S tier, and I stated my argument for it. They should be above the Klingons.
The Klingons?
The
Wow.
Klingons. Well, that's the derpy sect of the Klingons, though. Anyways, but I feel like they should be ahead of the Klingons because of everything that I stated. Like Voyager really pushed them ahead for me when it comes to like a lot of things. Like Voyager was a military ship to me. They had to be. They made connections out there with the Federation still, and so that's where I stand. S tier, top of the tier. Yeah, prove me wrong. Who wants to go next?
All right.
I had them as S.
Okay, so Zhombi has them as an S as well. So. What about you, Raven? Are you going to be the triple S or are you going to be the A to our double S? Sorry, I had to put it that way.
That took me a second. I'm like, A to the what? Oh, okay.
I got it as soon as he said it, but yeah. No, I'm actually gonna not be the A to your double S.
You're going lower, aren't you?
I'm gonna be the B.
What?
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
yep.
Heresy.
I know. No, that's why I said that's why I started my part of the conversation out with, it's really hard to do this,
but
not piss everybody off,
right? Right.
But just the way I looked at it and the way I ranked everything and how I kind of felt about things, I personally thought, but I will say it is a very high B.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if it was in a grading system in like a school, if the bottom of A tier is a 90%, I would be at like an 89.5 in the B. So it's
you better, because if you rank them behind the Ferengi, I'd have been really upset.
Yeah, no. If this is a very high B ranking in my opinion. I just with some of the other stuff and how I kind of felt how things fell and and bringing in personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave him very, very, very high B.
All right. So let me step back to Zhombi real quick. How high of an S tier do you give? Would it be in front of the Klingons? Or
I had them actually they're ahead of the Klingons in my book.
All right. So how we rank this is going to be interesting. So I think, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to state this and see what you guys think. Okay. So with two S's, high S's and a high B, I would say that they would be behind the Klingons, but still S tier.
Agreed. That's what I was
Okay.
actually going to say. Yeah.
Which I totally disagree with, but this is, all of our opinions together, and that's all that matters. I will concede to that fact that we're gonna put the Federation second best to the Klingons. Oh, Kirk would be so disappointed. But there you have it, guys. That is our list. I was really hoping I could change your mind with all my little arguments there at the end, but
Sorry, the Federation is great, but personal opinion was a big thing for me on this.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I mean, and I said it too. Okay, earlier, the Federation was Gene Roddenberry's vision of a utopia,
Mm-hmm.
and if you really want to bring into this, if you were taking if we were taking a purely objective view and not bringing personal opinion into the way we ranked things, I would have easily given the Federation a low S tier rating.
Yeah.
Because we threw that personal opinion parameter in there.
There you go, throwing that back in my face now. Jeez.
No.
I'm kidding.
No. I'm defending why I went to a B, because we're throwing that personal opinion thing in there. Okay. In my mind, not only was I ranking the Federation, but because the Federation was Gene Roddenberry's baby and the way he viewed a utopia should be, in reality, it felt to me like I was also evaluating Gene Roddenberry himself. And Gene Roddenberry himself, while a genius when it came to developing the premise to this show, was more than just a bit of an ass. And that had a lot to do to bring down, again, because of that opinion, helped to bring down my opinion of the Federation.
I get that.
It was hard for me to support this utopian idea when he was doing a lot of things that were in direct contradiction to this view of this utopia. And that's why it was like, so.
But I like Rick Bergman better, so.
Rick Bergman, yeah, he did a lot of good stuff.
I'm just saying he was.
He did
after
once he took over from Gene, he did a lot of great stuff for the franchise.
Yeah.
I won't argue with that at all.
Yeah, it may have been Gene's baby, but it was literally Rick was left to raise the Star Trek universe. I mean, for real, but anyways, yeah, that being said though, I can make all the jokes I want, but I'm not going to, because I really have enjoyed these episodes that we have been able to bring together. And I am so glad that Zhombi came up with this, because without him, we wouldn't have this. And so, yeah. So unfortunately, guys, this is where our shorts end for the Star Trek universe, but we got some more stuff coming up for you soon. I promise you. Check out for that when you click on that link in the description below to learn more about From the Ashes. And man, I want to thank Raven so much. I want to thank Zhombi so much for being here with this. Love you guys. You guys are just great. But this ends the shorts, man. I'm a little saddened by it. I wish we could do more with this tier list, but more or less I'm dragging this out because I'm trying to get Raven to change his mind and I'm just kidding. But that's not happening. So we'll just go ahead and end it anyways. You guys have a great week, and have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you soon.